After uploading 3 chapters or more, depending on what happens on Fridays of my We Bear Bills Canada fanfic, I'm officially back in the mood of We Bear Bills after watching episodes, and of course doing those chapters. Granted, at the moment I'm reviewing 3 episodes for one of this month, one in the following month, and one on June before Steven Universe Marathon arrives. And I'm thankful to finally return my Sunday videos by starting off with an episode from We Bear Bills that I wanted to review for such a long time, Occupy Bears. This episode begins where the construction crew are destroying the Bears cave so that they can set up a cell phone tower, and the Bears need to convince the construction team that they lived inside of this cave for 5 years. During the episode, we get flashbacks of the Bears finding homes to live in San Francisco, some that are too expensive or the other not expensive but disgusting to live in, and this leads to them going into a cave in the woods since it was raining hard, and towards the end of the episode, they managed to have that cave their own home. The ages of the Bears is that they're almost 30, and during their time on finding a home, they were in their mid-20s. I gotta be real with you, with this taking place right after the baby episodes, mainly from the flashbacks, it really made me feel like that there was a lot more going on when it comes to the Bears after they're no longer cubs. If anything, it made me see on how the Bears were portrayed in the movie where they had to leave the cave in order to find a new home, which is in Canada, and that ended up backfiring on them since that they didn't have passports. This really sums up a lot of how the Bears were functioned when it comes to finding a home, and when they managed to find the home, this episode really aged a lot more better when it came to the following seasons and the film themselves. Whenever I look back to this episode, it really made me feel that the Bears really wanted to stay at the home that they prefer the most. Believe me, if they had stayed in a different place when it comes to getting adopted or whatnot, their lives will have been a lot more different in comparison to the lives that they have currently. These flashbacks are a lot more serious after watching all the episodes, including the movie. And every time that we see the Bears just trying to find a home, this really feels like the end of the line. They tried everything, they did what they could, and for how expensive the high price apartments are, it's difficult for them to have a normal home without anything in the way. It really makes it feel like that if they didn't encounter the cave in one of the final flashbacks, then I'm pretty sure that they will probably continue on going to different locations, and we won't be able to have characters like Chloe, and that's a fact. For everything that the Bears try to do in order to protect their home, there's literally no other way for them to be convinced if it wasn't for Panda getting his old phone that he used upon his journeys with Grizz and Ice Bear in order to find the home, up until they actually get their cave towards the end of the episode, mainly in flashbacks. Like, the fact that he actually showed proof towards the construction people that they lived in the cave for 5 years, then I'm pretty sure the people who worked on the citizens and their personalities know the limits on when they realize that they've gone too far while experiencing the loophole that the other characters did in order to save their home. That just sums up of how much I appreciate the execution in this episode and how everything is back to normal. Granted, the Bears need to fix the holes that the construction people caused, but at the same time, they still kept the home. The final flashback is the biggest highlight. and it aged so much better when it came to the following seasons and the movie itself. If anything, if it wasn't for this episode, then the origins of the Bear's Cave would have been in my mind for such a long time. After watching this episode for the first time, I was mostly confused, and then after thinking about it, after watching the rest of the show along with the movie, it shows the passion in this show. So much so that they really knew how to make the cave an important location, and also the main attraction when it comes to locations in We Bare Bears. If anything, I'm more surprised that if we actually had different locations when it comes to the Bears traveling, it wouldn't be a good idea, and it'll probably make the show weak to justify its existence. Which is why that the Baby Bear episodes and the spin-off had those elements, and it does work in a capacity, but when it comes to grown bears, not really. When it comes to the next We Bare Bears reviews for next month and in June, the one in May will be a Mother's Day review, while the June review will be an episode from season 1 like this episode. I don't know what I'm gonna be doing with this show after Summerpalooza 5 comes to an end, but it just depends if I'm actually in the mood or not. Again, I still haven't made up my schedule after Steven Universe Marathon comes to an end. I'm giving this episode a 9.5 out of 10.